Assalamualaikum Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain amma ba'du. Hello everyone, I hope you are doing so well. My name is Rizky and I'm the first member of this group, which is group 5, to represent our topic, unemployment. So let's get started. Everyone will try their best to be able to have a peaceful life, a comfortable life, a perfect life, and of course that requires a big effort, and the effort is job, the effort is work. Therefore, so that humans must work to meet the needs of their life. But unfortunately, not everyone easily gets a job. There are people who have tried their best to get a job and then finally they become unemployed. And what is unemployment? What causes them to become unemployed? Is there any solution to this problem? So all of you will get the answers of all these questions on the next slides. So let's get to the next slide. Everyone, before we go further into specific topics like the causes, the solution, the various of unemployment itself, we need to know what is unemployment. So on this slide, I will represent you the definition of unemployment. Basically, unemployment is a term for people who is not work at all, or are looking for work, or maybe work but less than 2 days a week, or someone who trying to get a decent job. And there is one more thing that maybe 100% I am very sure that if someone get asked by his family, by his friends, by his neighbor, what is your job? Do you have a job? And then he says, I have no job, I'm jobless, I am unemployment. And the first thing to come out of their minds is, oh, you have a bad future, your future is sucks, or maybe something like that, or maybe bad, maybe more than like that. So people who try their best to become unemployment, and they think they need to do anything to have a job. At least they have activities and then they get paid. So that's all about the definition of unemployment. The next slide, maybe my friends will represent you about specific topic. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Syafri Imran Bezalani. I am the next presenter for my team. Today I will present to all of you about rate of unemployment from various countries. I already separated into 3 categories, which are developed country, undeveloped country, and also developing country. Alright, each categories bring a different rate of unemployment because each category can affect the rate of unemployment for a particular country. For each category, I already took one country for example to show to all of you the rate of unemployment from various countries. Alright, this is the rate of unemployment from China, which is the developed country. China's surveyed urban unemployment declined to 4.9% in September 2021, the lowest level since December 2018. The jobless rate of the population aged 16 to 24 fell to 14.6% in September from 15.3% in August, recorded by National Bureau of Statistics, NBS. We can see the difference there is 0.7%. Alright, in the meantime, the surveyed unemployment rate in 31 large cities and towns went down to 5% from 5.3% in the previous month. The average weekly working hours of employees in enterprises across the country was 47.8 hours, an increase of 0.3 hours from August. In the first 9 months of the year, 10.45 million new jobs were created in cities and towns across the country, achieving 95% of the annual target. China has set a target of creating 11 million new urban jobs and a surveyed urban unemployment rate of 5.5% for this year. Alright, we move to the next category, which is undeveloped country. I already took Niger as an example to show to all of you the rate of unemployment from undeveloped country category. Alright, unemployment rate in Niger is increased to 33.30% in the fourth quarter of 2020 from 27.1% in the second quarter, which is April, May, and June of 2020. Unemployment rate in Niger is expected to be 32.70% by the end of this quarter, which is October, November, and December, according to trading economics, global macro models, and analyst expectations. In the long term, the Niger unemployment rate is projected to trend around 32% in 2022 and 30% in 2023, according to econometric models. Unemployment rate in Niger averaged 13.55% from 2006 until 2020, reaching an all-time high of 33.30% in the fourth quarter, which is October, November, and December of 2020, and a record low of 5.10% in the fourth quarter, which is October, November, and December of 2010. Alright, we move to the last category, which is developing country. I choose Indonesia as an example to show to all of you about the rate of unemployment from developing country. The unemployment rate in Indonesia dropped to 6.49% in the third quarter of 2021 from 7.07% in the same quarter a year earlier, amid an improvement in local COVID-19 situations. The number of unemployed persons fell 0.67 million to 9.10 million. At the same time, the number of employed was up by 2.60 million to 131.05 million, mostly in manufacturing, while that in agriculture reported that the largest drop, negative 1.43%. In the meantime, the labor force participation rate was little changed at 67.08%. Alright, unemployment rate in Indonesia is expected to be 6% by the end of this quarter, according to trading economics, global macro models, and analyst expectations. In the long term, the Indonesia unemployment rate is projected to trend around 5.70% in 2022 and 5.50% in 2023, according to our econometric models. Unemployment rate in Indonesia averaged 6.05% from 1982 until 2018, reaching an all-time high of 11.24% in the third quarter of 2005 and record low of 2% in the fourth quarter of 1983. Alright, I think that's all from me. I only present about the rate of unemployment from various countries, and I will pass to the next presenter.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Amratu Shahira, and today I will talk about issues of unemployment. So, as we all know, the coronavirus disease or COVID-19 have been greatly brings an impact to unemployment, not only in Malaysia but even worldwide. So given the current economic climate, many companies have understandably put a freeze on hiring, and the general sentiment is that it is a job providers rather than a job seekers market. Employed persons by economic sector show that all sectors registered declines in employment. So we can see the statistics from the Labour Force Malaysia in July 2021 on your left side. So the Malaysia recorded an increase in the unemployment rate this year due to the impact of the tighter restriction to curb the spread of COVID-19 pandemic. The rise in new daily cases has resulted in the implementation of full movement control order MCO during the month whereby only essential economy and services sectors were permitted to operate. So the reduction in services sector was largely in accommodation and food and beverages, services, real estate and wholesale, also retail and trade activities. But the unemployment rate in Malaysia for August 2021 declined by 4.6% to 748,800 persons versus 778,200 persons in July 2021 amid more economic activities permitted to resume. It said that COVID-19 indicators in Malaysia are starting to decrease while the number of vaccinated adults has reached more than 88%, thus leading to the reopening of the economy. Next is criticisms of unemployment. So the first one is involuntary part-time workers counted as a full-time. So people are considered employed if they did any work at all for pay or profit during the survey reference week. This includes all part-time and temporary work as well as regular full-time and year-round employment. So this is a problem because some of the part-time workers may be waiting to be employed for the job that are the same as what they learn in universities. For an example, this person are waiting to be called for a job related to engineering, but in the meantime, they do food panda as a part-time. So doing a part-time while waiting for a job still consider them as full-time, thus not included in unemployment. So the second one is discouraged workers are not counted as unemployed. Since discouraged workers are not actively searching for a job, they are considered non-participants in the labour market. That is, they are neither counted as unemployed nor included in the labour force. Here are the basic concepts that we can conclude involved in identifying the employed and unemployed. The first one is people with jobs are employed. And then the second one, people who are jobless, looking for a job and available for work are unemployed. Okay. The third one is the labor force is made up of the employed and the unemployed. Okay, and the last one, people who are neither employed nor unemployed are not in the labor force. So this is the key concept for employed and unemployed.
My name is Andrika Adin, metric number 2114221. So next, let's look at the types or causes of unemployment. So there are three types or causes of unemployment, which are structural unemployment, cyclical unemployment, and also frictional unemployment. All right, so let's look at the first one, structural unemployment. Structural unemployment happens when there's a structural change in the types of goods and services produced. And this change is due to a change in demand of skills and technology. So to make it clearer, let's say the economy shifts from a consumer goods industry to a capital goods industry. So there are three causes of structural unemployment, which is the first one is occupational immobility. So this means that the skills of the worker does not match the skill demand of jobs available. And what these skills refers to is to the lack of employability skills, such as technical skills in the related working field, problem-solving skills, and also in communication, especially in the English language. And the next cause of structural unemployment is geographical immobility. This happens when the worker cannot reach the geographical location of the job. And this may be because of they are having some barriers such as financial barriers and also social barriers. Thus, in turn, will cause the jobs to be unattainable. And the next cause of structural unemployment is technological change. So this means that there's a technological change or there's an advancement in the way how firms and organizations produce their goods and services. such as by implementing workflow automation, which is now possible by using robots, drones, and more advanced machinery. So these are the three causes of structural unemployment. So the keywords here being the lack of employability skills, and the next one is geographical immobility, and the last one is because of the advance in technology. Right. So let's look at the next one. All right. This is some extra information on the top 5 reasons why fresh graduates don't get hired. I believe you can read them by yourselves. So the next type of unemployment is cyclical unemployment, which is also known as demand deficient unemployment. And this is the biggest cause of unemployment in the economy, which usually happens during the recessionary period. All right, so cyclical unemployment happens when the aggregate demand of goods and services decline. So when aggregate demand declines, this will cause the national income of the economy or the country will also decline. So when the national income of the economy decline, this means that people will have to save more and spend less on goods and services. So when people spend less on goods and services, the firms will have no choice but to cut on production and output. Why? So that they can prevent loss and to maintain a stable profit. And this means that they have to cut on their factors of production, which we have learned in previous classes, which include fixed capital goods and resources. And the cut will be in the form of labor resources. As compared to fixed capital goods, which are much higher in value and they can last in longer periods and even decades, labor resources are expendable, which means that they can be easily replaced by employers whenever necessary. Right. So all of these processes will ultimately lead in the increase in unemployment rate. All right. So the keywords here are being when the aggregate demand falls, the national income will fall. So when the national income falls, unemployment rate will rise. All right. So let's look at the next one. Frictional unemployment. Frictional unemployment is a common type of unemployment and will always occur regardless of the state of the economy, whether it's doing great or whether the economy is doing bad. Frictional unemployment happens when a worker is in between jobs or when they are searching for new positions. And this is maybe because they are unsatisfied with their current jobs, and maybe they have low wages, or they are searching for new jobs or positions with better wages. Frictional unemployment can also happen when students who has graduated and they are searching for their first job and to join in the workforce. So the time gap it takes for these workers and these students to search for a job, we call them as frictionally unemployed. And frictional unemployment is also known as search and wait unemployment. So let's do a quick recap. So there are 3 types of unemployment. The first one is structural unemployment, which is because there's a change in the demand of skills and technology. And structural unemployment is caused by the lack of employability skills, geographical immobility, and there's an advance in the technology. And the next type of unemployment is cyclical unemployment, which happens during a recessionary period. So when the aggregate demand falls, the income will fall and the unemployment rate will rise. And the last one is frictional unemployment, which is also known as search and wait unemployment. So remember these keywords. So next we look at the impacts of unemployment. So we can divide it into 3 categories. So the first one, the impacts of unemployment towards individuals or households. So this is very simple. So when people are unemployed, this means that they are unable to fulfill their financial obligations, such as to pay bills, to pay their rent, and they are unable to enjoy goods and services. This in turn will cause them to be stressed financially and mentally, and may cause them to fall into depression. So next we look at the impacts of unemployment towards the economy. So when unemployment rate is on the rise and there are less people in the working field, there will obviously be a decline in overall output or GDP of the economy. This means that there will be less income for the economy. Thus, there will be a slower economic growth rate. So the last one is the impacts towards the society. So when the economy is unstable and poverty has affected many people, and people are desperate to survive, this may lead people to involve in crimes, thus increase in the crime rate of the country. So when high unemployment maintains to rise, there will be a widespread civil unrest and may cause the downfall of the economy and the country.
Hi, I'm Azina. I'll be presenting to you about policies to reduce unemployment. So there's the supply side and the demand side, but I'll be presenting to you the supply side first. So the first one, we have education and training. So the aim is to give the long-term unemployed a new skill, which enable them to find new jobs in developing industries. Like example, we train unemployed skilled workers to have basic IT skills, which help them find work in service sector. But however, despite providing education and training schemes, the unemployed may be unable or unwilling to learn new skills, so at best it will take several years to reduce unemployment. The second one, we have reduced the power of trades union. If unions can bargain for wages above the market clearing level, they will cause real wage unemployment. So in this case, reducing the influence of trades union or reducing minimum wages will help solve this real wage unemployment. And number 3, we have unemployment subsidies. Firm could be given tax breaks or subsidies for taking on long-term unemployed. This helps give them new confidence and on-the-job training. However, it will be quite expensive, and it may encourage firms to just replace current workers with the long-term unemployment to benefit from the tax break. And number 4, we have improved labor market flexibility. It is argued that highest structural rates of unemployment in Europe is due to restrictive labor markets, which discourage firms from employing workers in the first place. For example, abolishing maximum working weeks and making it easier to hire and fire workers may encourage more jobs creation. However, it is increasing labor market flexibility could cause a rise in temporary employment and greater job insecurity. And number 5, we have stricter benefit requirements. Governments could take a more proactive role in making the unemployed accept a job or risk losing benefit. After a certain period, the government could guarantee a public sector job. Like example, clean street. This could significantly reduce unemployment, but it may mean the government end up employing thousands of people in unproductive tasks, which is very expensive. And also, if you make it difficult to claim benefits, you may reduce the claim count, but not the international labor force survey. And number 6, we have improved geographical mobility. Often unemployed is more concentrated in certain regions. To overcome this geographically, unemployment, the government could give tax breaks to firms who set up in depressed area. Alternatively, they can provide financial assistance to unemployed workers who move to areas with high employment, like for example helping with renting. And so number 7, we have maximum working week. It has been suggested a maximum working week for 35 hours would lead to firms needing to hire more workers and reduce unemployment. However, a maximum working week may increase a firm cost, and therefore they are not willing to hire more. Also, there's no certainty a firm will respond to a cut in hours by employing more. They may try to increase productivity. Those with the wrong skills will still face the same problem. So for demand supply, we have monetary policy, and the first solution is expansionary monetary policy from the Federal Reserve. It's powerful, it's quick, and it's effective. Lower interest rates make it easier for families to borrow what they need. That includes expensive items like cars, homes, and consumers' electronics. It stimulates enough demand to put the economy back on track. Because low interest rates also allow businesses to borrow for less. That gives them the financial capital to hire enough workers to meet rising demand. And then we have fiscal policies. If the recession really is severe, then monetary policy might not be enough on its own. That's when fiscal policy is needed. The government can either cut taxes or increase spending to stimulate the economy. And expansionary fiscal policy is slower than monetary policy to get started. It takes time for the Congress or the President to agree on the next step, but it can be more effective once it is executed. It also provides much needed confidence that the government will turn things around. And confidence is very crucial for convincing people to spend now for a better future. And also cutting taxes works like lowering interest rates. Both give businesses and consumers more money to spend. That increases demand and also gives businesses more cash to invest and hire more workers. Government spending can also take the form of jobs program. The government can hire employees directly. It also contracts with companies to build things and provide services. It provides consumers with the cash they need to buy more products. So monetary policy pros and cons. So the first one is interest rate targeting control inflation. So a small amount of inflation is healthy for a growing economy as it encourages investment in the future and allow workers to expect higher wages. Inflation occurs when the general price levels of all goods and services in an economy increases. By raising the target interest rate, investment becomes more expensive and works like too slow on economic growth a bit. And so a second one can be implemented fairly easily. So it means like a central bank can act quickly to use monetary policy tools and often just signaling their intentions to the market can yield results. And the third one is central banks are independent and politically neutral. Even if monetary policy action is unpopular, it can be undertaken before or during elections without the fear of political repercussions. And the cons, the first one we have, effects have a time lag. Even if implemented quickly, the macro effects of monetary policy generally occur after some time has passed. The effects of an economy may take months or even years to materialize. Some economies believe money is merely a veil, and while serving to stimulate an economy in the short run, it has no long-term effects except for rising the general level of prices without boosting real economic output. In the second cons, we have technical limitation. Interest rates can only be lowered nominally to 0%, which limits the bank use of this policy tool, which interest rates are already low. So keeping rates very low for a prolonged periods of time can lead to a liquidity trap. This tends to make monetary policy tools more effective during economic expansion than a recession. Some European central banks have recently experimented with a negative interest rate policy, NIRP, but the results won't be known for some times to come. And the last one, we have monetary tools are general and affect an entire country. Monetary policy tools such as interest rates level have an economy-wide impact and do not account for the fact some areas in the country might not need the stimulus, while states with higher unemployment might need the stimulus more. It is also general in the sense that monetary tools can't be directed to solve a specific problem or boost a specific industry or region. So for fiscal policy pros and cons, so the first one we have can direct spending to specific purpose. Unlike monetary policy tools, which are general in nature, a government can direct spending towards specific projects, sectors, or regions to stimulate the economy where it is perceived to be needed the most. And then the second one we have can use taxation to discourage negative externalities. So taxing polluters or those that overuse limited resources can help remove the negative effects they cause while generating government revenue. And then we have the short time lag, number 3. So the effect of fiscal policy tools can be seen much quicker than the effects of monetary tools. And for the cons, the first one we have may be politically motivated. Raising taxes can be unpopular and politically dangerous, but to implement. And then we have tax incentive may be spent on imports. So the effect of fiscal stimulus is muted when the money is put into the economy through tax saving or government spending. Government spending is like spending in imports, like sending that money abroad instead of keeping it in the local economy. And number 3 can create budget deficits. So a government budget deficit is when it spends more money annually than it takes in. If spending is high and taxes are low for too long, such a deficit can continue to widen to a dangerous levels. So as you can see here, this is what monetary and fiscal policy do in short. And so the real bottom line is monetary and fiscal policy tools are used in concert to help keep economic growth stable with low inflation, low unemployment, and stable prices. Unfortunately, there is no silver bullet or generic strategy that can be implemented, as both sets of policy tools carry with them their own pros and cons. If it's used effectively, however, the net benefit is positive to society, especially in stimulating demand following a crisis. So in conclusion, we think unemployment is a serious issue for any economy. It creates negative effects to unemployed as they are jobless and suffer from worse prospect to find new job, and those who are employed feel less secure to keep their jobs in the future. However, for overall development of economy, government and individual has to take an initiative steps in increasing their productivity and improving the standard of living. So that's all from us. Thank you.